All right, everyone. We are live for another episode of the Blue Crocus Experience. I'm really excited about this one. I've been following Austin here for a little while. He's up to a lot of things. We're going to chat about some of that. But yeah, just super excited about this. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, leave a comment. We can see the comments that come through. So if you have questions for Austin as we go through here, shoot them over and I'll put them up on the screen and we'll get him to answer. But Austin, welcome aboard. Excited to have you. And I see you're living it up there on the beach.
Yeah, we're out here in Santa Rosa, Florida, having a little family vacation. And yeah, thank you for having me on the podcast. Been waiting for this for a couple weeks now. Excited about it.
Yeah, man, super excited as well. So give everyone, a little bit of a feel for who you are, what you do. I know you got a lot on the go. Maybe touch some points, and we'll dig deeper into them as we go. But just give everybody a little bit of who Austin is.
Sure. Yeah. Name's Austin Hiers, guys. I met Lewis through Facebook, and I think you started following me on YouTube first.
Yeah.
So I run a junk removal business, and it's about 6 years in now. It's called Let It Go Junk Removal. That was one of my first official businesses that I started, and before that, I was a chef for 6 years, and working as a slave in the kitchen, and I just really, I just was like, I was tired of it. 75 hours a week, and like 15 hours a day. It was getting kind of crazy, and I wanted more time with the family, so I started the junk removal business, and that ended up taking off and becoming a success, and definitely my main stream of income right now. And I have a couple of other businesses that I do as well. Obviously, I do YouTube, like I mentioned. Make a little bit of money from that. It's not too huge right now, but I was teaching people how to start junk removal business and rage room business and all that on YouTube. So that's how I got started. I also, as I just mentioned, started a rage room recently in the last, I think we're about 6 months in now. And rage room and junk removal, they work together perfectly. The gears grind together perfectly. And it's just two businesses to run together, and they help each other out. So the junk removal provides stuff for the rage room to smash, and it's just the dumpsters, sit out back, and we can load the smashed up stuff into that dumpster. So those are two of the business that I have, YouTube, and then I also have a small Airbnb on my property, which pays my mortgage. So super excited to have that as well. And yeah, that's me. I'm a regular old entrepreneur. I'm always trying new things, getting out there, taking big risks, and making stuff happen. I'm a man of action, and basically, if I get something set in my mind, I just go after it. I chase after it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. We've got J&J Removal Services jumping in here. How's it going?
What's up, J&J? Good afternoon, man.
Good afternoon. Awesome. So you were stuck in the grind in the kitchen. 6 years ago, you said there. What made you choose junk removal? What was it about junk removal as opposed to any of the other many ventures that are out there to do?
That's a good question. It was a mixture of things. So first of all, the biggest thing was my mom owned a estate sale business, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically you get hired to go in and liquidate the contents of someone's home, whether they're getting a divorce or someone had passed away, or there's just downsizing. Several situations that can cause that to happen, but basically you go in, you set this sale up, sell everything out of the house, and take a percentage for it. So that's what she did. What got me interested in junk removal was because she needed people in the end to clear everything out of the house, whatever was left, all of the junk and sometimes good stuff. And I started junk removal out for free like that. I was working for her and other estate sale businesses, removing stuff for free. And I quit my job for this, like I said. And basically I was living off of garage sale money. So I would collect this stuff for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'd have a garage sale every once a month, make a couple $1,000, and that was how we were living. Also at the time I was helping my mom set up her estate sale, her sales every weekend, so I was making some extra money there as well. And she just kind of got me started and excited about removing stuff. I put up a ad on Craigslist one day about, hey, I do junk removal. I had just bought this little flatbed trailer for maybe $1,500, and I had a small truck. And I was still advertising that I was doing it for free and basically trying to live off of that money.
Yeah.
But to my surprise, one day I had somebody email me saying, how much does it cost? And from there, I was like, wow, I can charge for this? I could really, and so that's where the junk removal business really started to grow and really started to profit. We were removing stuff for, $95, go pick up a whole scrap metal load and then go scrap that load and make some money. And I saw that there was ways to, now I was getting paid to remove it and getting paid to sell the metal, right? And then if there was good stuff, say we go do another estate sale clean out, I started to charge, $100 to $200 a load. Started out real cheap, because I was just getting into the industry. I never really did much research onto it. And people were just like, yeah, $100, come clean out the house. I keep what's good, toss in the trash what's bad. I even used my own garbage service at my house at first. I would take large pieces of furniture and just put it out in front of my house, and eventually they caught on. They were like, you can't do this crap anymore. So you got to get started somewhere, and that's how I got started. And that's pretty much what made me get into junk removal was, slowly finding out that, I could charge for this, from moving from doing the estate sale stuff to now just doing any kind of clean out possible and just charging accordingly. And 6 years later, here we are. The business is bringing in probably, I would say, 30 to 40,000 a month, pretty regularly. And most of that is one truck running. Sometimes we have to run two trucks.
Yep.
And we're still not a huge company, a really, really small company still, that pays for all the overhead and still has some profits in the end. So, yeah, that's how I got started in junk removal.
That's awesome. That's
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a cool story because I wasn't expecting you to say you basically quit your job for working for free, and then making, basically you quit your job as a in the restaurant business to go yard sailing, to do garage sailing, right?
Yeah, and that's it, man. I had this entrepreneurial mindset that there's money to be had everywhere, no matter where you're at. I would stop by people's for example, one day I was driving by someone's garbage and they had this portable AC out there. I had no idea if it worked or not, but I took my chance, picked it up, brought it home. It worked perfectly fine. I sold it for $100. And if you just had that mindset, and if you look out for opportunity everywhere, and then you just grab that opportunity as soon as you can make a lot of money. There's so much money to be had out there. And so I had that mindset right off the bat that I was not gonna fail no matter what.
I love that. What did your were you married at the time? What did your wife or girlfriend think when you made that leap?
Yeah. So we were actually married at the time that I quit, and we were just having our second kid. Okay. So that was kind of scary as well, having a second kid, quitting a job that was paying me $250 a day as a chef, which is pretty good money. But I never got to see them. I left early in the morning when they were all sleeping, and I came back at night when they were all sleeping, and it was just it was horrible. It was a sad life, man. I was depressed, to say the least, and it was the grind. And that's not to say that it's not the grind still, but it's the grind that I created. And that's the thing, you can get out there, you can create your own grind, and you can just snag these opportunities. I definitely every day I look out for opportunities, and if it's within grasp, I go after it right away.
That's awesome, man. So what did you kind of avoided the question of what your wife?
Sorry, sorry, I got off track there. Yes, all right. So the wife, we were married, we had 2 kids. She has always been really supportive in everything I did. But that being said, it's not that she still had doubts. She really still had doubts. She expressed those doubts. She had no idea how I planned on turning crap into money. And she was worried, but she knows that I've always provided ever since we were together. I was a chef for 6 years, so and we were together the whole 6 years. And so yeah, she was very supportive, but at the same time worried. You know, where is the money going to come from? How are we going to pay these bills? She's a stay-at-home mom, so she's never worked since the day I started dating her. She hasn't had a job, and that's the way I wanted it. I wanted it to be, you know, I grew up on like, if you're the man of the house, you're the man of the house, and you take care of these things, and the wife, you know, she takes care of the kids and makes sure that they get raised properly. We homeschool our kids and everything. Yeah, so to answer your question, she was very supportive, but also worried.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. I can relate as well. You know, when I jumped out, you know, and had to build my parachute on the way down. You know, my wife, we're in a similar spot actually. You know, my wife, we say she's the domestic engineer of the household. She handles that. You know, her 2.5 times jobs. You know, being a mom, she's up in the night. She's up. You know, she's full time during the day. It's crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, there's definitely that challenge when you first start something new. It's like, whoa, like how's this going to work, right? Because you have that consistency before. So that's cool to hear that.
Yeah, that the fear comes from lack of knowledge. Where is this going to come from? What am I going to do? And that's where the fear sets in. But the more you learn, I would read books. You know, books really helped me out a lot. Watching YouTube, that helped me out so much, and that's why I got started in YouTube as well. It's just like I was like, man, I see how much just one video gave me knowledge and confidence to go out there and do something. So I was like, I want to provide that same knowledge and confidence to people out there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So let's fast forward to, you know, maybe a year or two in. We were talking, you know, briefly before we jumped on here. I want to talk about some of the crazy failures, you know, some of the stuff that nearly sunk the ship, because that's, I think, where we learn the most. You know, and most of us can talk about them because we've gone through them. But do you have a couple stories that you can share for people who are listening of, you know, people see you now, they see things going really well, but there was a time where, you know, maybe you doubted things, or you know, just share some stories there of how things kind of fell apart.
Right. I can. I have several stories like that. So just as far as the junk removal goes, and I'm still dealing with this right now. Actually, I'm going through a lawsuit with somebody that had completely crushed and destroyed my dumpsters.
Okay.
And this was right after I actually bought some dumpsters, brand new 2020, and he had crushed them. And we're actually going to court in a couple of weeks for this to settle it because mediation wasn't settled. But long story short, you learn that in business, you need to have these contracts as detailed as possible. My biggest mistake was the contracts. I might lose this because my contract was so weak when I first started. When those dumpsters got crushed, my contract was so weak, man, that they found loopholes. They found loopholes here and there and there and here, and that's the biggest like mistake I made in the very beginning was not having a strong contract, not going to a lawyer and saying, hey, how can I make this stronger? How can I cover myself? For example, for anybody that's in the service industry, you want to have in your contracts. I didn't know this at the time, but you want to have in your contracts that if anything goes wrong and you guys end up going to court, that those court fees and those lawyer fees are all paid by this person that you're suing. And I didn't have anything in there that said that. So I'm paying all my lawyer fees myself, everything on me, because I never had any clause in there that states that. And that was just like a beginner's mistake that I try to tell everybody that's getting started. Make sure your contracts are strong, and then just pay a lawyer. You know, pay him a couple $100 to go over your contract, and make sure that it's good. And he'll give you examples of what you can add in there. And it doesn't have to be lawyer talk. It doesn't have to be all these big words. It can be very simplistic, but make sure it's very detailed as well. So that's like one of the big mistakes, man, that I'm still going through today.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because it's you know, a lot of people, junk removal is a very low overhead startup, right? So you don't have to get into it to the same depth that you would say if you're starting a home remodeling business, you know, with licensing and all of that.
Right.
So it you know, that's interesting. I think that everyone should take into account. Make sure you kind of bounce things off of someone who knows. I hope that things go your way, because that's a tricky
Yeah.
spot to be in.
Yeah, we think we have everything we need. I may still win, but we're trying to just get the money back for the damages of the dumpsters. I financed my dumpsters because, in the beginning, I didn't have $40,000 to put up front for 5 dumpsters and a trailer. I have that now. I could go out and buy that cash money now. And I have insurance on these dumpsters as well. But the insurance is giving me issues because of where they were at, how they were placed, how long they were there. There's so many legalities that I've learned along the way. And so, yeah, that's a big thing. Even though you're a small company, make sure your contracts are like a big company. Make sure they are detailed. Make sure they're good, and make sure you have a lawyer look at them. That's like the biggest advice I could give for sure.
Yeah, that's a big one there.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see what other mistakes I've made as far as junk removal go. And I have other mistakes like starting up other businesses that just completely failed. I'll get into those. But another one for junk removal that was big for me was accepting checks. And because checks can easily bounce, and I learned this in the very beginning as well. I'm sure a lot of people have had this where you get a check that maybe from a sketchy customer, to say the least, and you do the job. Then you try to cash that check, and you find out that the bank account was not even real, wasn't even a real bank account, or it might have been opened years ago, but it wasn't good today.
Yeah.
And I've lost thousands of dollars that way. Wow. So I take card and I take cash. I'll take Cash App or Venmo or any of those things that are instant. We know it's good right away. But we don't accept check anymore unless it's like one of these big companies that are 30 days out, 60 days out. That's the only checks we accept because we know, they're a big company. They're going to their check better be good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's one of the other mistakes that I made as far as junk removal goes, and I've corrected and made sure that it doesn't happen again. It's a very easy mistake to fix.
Yeah.
But lost the money.
That's interesting, and I see people ask that in the groups. I saw one just this morning. Someone was asking about checks, and you get everybody jumping in and giving their 2 cents. But hopefully that saves someone's money. Because, my dad used to always bounce the checks off the table when you were see if it bounced, kind of thing, see if you get a rubber check. But there's no real way to see if the money's in the bank, right?
There's literally no real way with a check. And some people might be good for it, but I just decided the best route to go is not accept them from a regular residential, and we just avoid it overall. If they can't pay with card or cash, then the check's no good anyway. So that's the way I see it.
Exactly.
So let's see. Let's talk about some other businesses. I started 2 more businesses, and they completely failed. Put me in the hole, thousands of dollars. They were pretty simple startups, like junk removal, low overhead and everything to get started. One of them was pressure washing.
Okay.
And so that's one of the mistakes I made was I spent about $4,000 setting up this badass pressure washing rig. So I don't know if we're allowed to cuss on here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. So this really cool pressure washing rig, that was gonna make me a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And I started putting the word out there. Come to find out, like in my area, there's so many people offering pressure washing services on Facebook, on Craigslist, and pressure washing is one of those things. Anybody can get out there and wave a wand around or push one of those whisper washers and clean your driveway. So they were doing it really, really, really cheap, and I couldn't afford it because I was doing everything legit: business licenses, names, insurance, all that. I lost thousands of dollars, to say the least.
That's brutal.
Tried it for about 6 months, and I know 6 months is not a long time, but it was long enough to see that I got no jobs. We got one job, and it was from my dad, and I did that for free. So, needless to say, that was a mistake that I made. I started a business without researching it. That's the mistake. Not that I started the business and tried something, but The mistake was not researching it, not finding out what I could charge in my area, not figuring out all the facts right in front of me. So yeah, if you start a business, figure out all these facts, figure out what you can do.
That's huge. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, figure it out and then take action once you see it. Don't wait around forever if it looks good, but do a little bit of research, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, oh, pressure washing, I can make bank off this, because I knew the big companies were charging good money, but they were established, for 15, 20 years. That's why they can charge that. That's why they can get out there and they've got 3-4 trucks running around. So I looked at some of the small facts and was like, yeah, I can do it too, because entrepreneurial stuff comes easy to me, but some stuff is just, you have to research. You got to make sure you're gonna be in the right market for it. So that being said, there's another business I started up, which is pretty low overhead. It was a bounce house company.
Okay.
I went on, was Moses Jose. Thank you for the advice. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, I love this podcast, man. It's really cool. Really cool what you're doing. You're really you're out there just trying to help people, and so anyway, I got a little sidetracked there. I saw it pop up. So yeah, my bounce house business, I got started. I bought a bunch of bounce houses. Cost me about $8,000. Bought a trailer, another $1,000. I bought the business name, a couple $100. Got insurance for it, a couple $grand. Probably $10,000-$12,000 in the hole. And this is, again, I didn't do a lot of research on it, but I did do more research than the pressure washing business. The number one mistake I made with this business was I didn't realize how labor intensive it was to bring these things to people's houses and unroll them, set them up, extension cords, the hoses for the ones with water, the mats for the ground, the tarp to put underneath it, the stakes to stake it in the ground. So there was, a good hour set up, maybe 30 minutes if you're really good. And then you got to go break these things down. You got to bring towels. You got to clean it before it gets broken down, because you got to drop it off to the next location. So you got to make sure it's cleaned. And when they're wet, they're extremely hard. So you need 2 people minimum out there breaking these things down. So I didn't account for all the labor, and I didn't have, excuse the airplane flying
over. All good. It's all good.
Can you still hear me good?
Oh yeah. Okay,
cool. So yeah, I didn't account for all the labor, and I didn't have enough people to get this business started. So what ended up happening was I was getting too many requests, and I couldn't even handle it. Couldn't handle the business. I couldn't do all the work myself because I was still working in the junk removal industry myself. I was still out there in the field, and then I would get home and I would have to go straight into the bounce houses. And at that point, it was just killing me, and I didn't have enough time to hire people and do everything it took. So I ended up basically selling the company to one of my friends, which was another mistake. Never get into business with your friends, guys. No friends, no family. That's my 2 rules. It always ends up going. I mean, there's probably some cases out there where it works out. I'm not going to say always, but in my case, it's never worked out well. So in this case, the friend ended up giving up as well, because he didn't calculate all the labor he had to put into it. Even though I warned him up front, this is why I'm giving it to you. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough manpower. He thought he could do it. So to say the least, he only worked for about 2 months, made a couple $1,000 off of it, stopped paying me my monthly payments, and the bounce house sat there for like 12 months. And then we finally sold them, and I basically broke even on that business.
Okay.
So those are 2 businesses I started up that ended up being complete failures, and I wish I never even started them in the first place.
But you learn from them, right? It's part of it's part of. I mean, if you really could go back, you probably learned some valuable lessons along the way, right?
Right. I definitely learned, like everything I just said. Those are lessons that I learned. And obviously I won't make those mistakes again. I won't get started in a business without researching it. I won't get started in a business without knowing that I have these people that I can hire, that can go out and work these jobs, because as an entrepreneur, you can't work in you can't be the labor in all of your businesses.
No.
And I'm sure you know this, Lewis. You have to have people there, and these days, I'm sure anybody watching, yourself, that it's hard to hire people. It's hard to get anybody to work, and that's something I'm struggling with right now with the junk removal. Luckily, I have two guys that are really good, and I'm on vacation right now. They're handling everything. But that's another struggle is getting people to do the work for you. So that's definitely mistakes I learned, and I'll never make again for sure.
Yeah, no, that's cool. We've got another comment here. Connor says, hit it on the head right there. Connor's from watching on Facebook, and Frank P is watching on YouTube. Says hi, guys.
Awesome.
Appreciate everyone who's tuning in. And if you guys have questions for Austin, shout him out. We've got him here for a bit longer. Let's pivot here a little bit, Austin, and go back to the junk removal, because I know we've shared this in a few of the groups, so there's going to be some people watching there. So one of the things that I get questions a lot in, as I've been sharing our journey with our junk removal company, and then as I work with contractors and stuff in the marketing side, is how do you do like there's websites and there's SEO and there's Google ads and Facebook ads and all of that, but there's a lot of other methods that we've used, especially in junk removal, to get business without really spending much money, relationships and all of that. Maybe you could share, some of your favorite ways to connect with people, build relationships, get referrals coming in, maybe some weird things you guys have tried that have done well, that people can take away some value from.
Yeah, cool. Definitely. So we've we spend a lot of money, Google ads and all that good stuff. That's the normal stuff to get business in. But we also do a lot of guerrilla marketing. Get out there and do that free marketing. Yeah. A lot of that is face to face, going into apartment complexes, going into condominiums, all the offices of these places. I would even go to hotels. I've got a lot of hotels. And big businesses that have warehouses. They always need stuff cleaned out of warehouses. And we would go to these places, and I introduce myself face to face. I let them know who we are. I interact with them like a friend, like just everyday people. You get in there and you're not approaching them for strictly business. You're approaching them to say, hey, this is who I am, and this is what I do. You're not approaching them saying, this is my business and we want to serve you. It's more of, this is who I am, this is what I do, and if you ever need anything like this, we're here to help, type of thing.
I love that.
And whenever we go into these places, we would bring cookies or brownies with a card attached. We tape a card to it or put a little piece of string. My wife usually did all that, the cooking, the baking, attaching the card. And I would go out there and be the face. I would always wear something nice. You want to represent. First impression is everything. So that's like a really big thing to remember when you're going out. Some people they wear their work shirt or their logo, and it's just a regular plain T-shirt. I would even wear like a shirt like this. I wouldn't even wear my logo because it looks too much like, hey, I'm coming to sell you something.
Gotcha.
So I show up in something nice, that they're just like, oh, this is good looking gentleman. You show up, you introduce yourself, and maybe not even talk about business at first. And that's how. And I would just kind of hand them the treat. And we've gotten a lot of business like that. I've even approached like the sheriff's offices. One of my biggest jobs in the very beginning was with the sheriff's department in Volusia County, where I live. Went in there, we dropped off some cookies. It was like a whole plate of cookies, just dropped it off to them, just introduced ourselves, and said, if you guys ever need anything, give us a call. And about 2 weeks later, they gave us a call, and we removed 2 sheds for them that were in great condition. I ended up like subbing that work out, getting the sheds delivered to my house, and I sold the sheds for more money. And it was all from a plate of cookies that I went in there, introduced myself, and they ended up hiring us, which was just really, really cool. So that's something we do on a regular basis. We go to these anywhere, really. I mean, junk removals is used everywhere. Restaurants, like I said, apartments, condos, hotels, warehouses. there's literally not one person that you should avoid talking to about your business or telling them what you do. You should tell everybody and just get the word out there, because even if they can't use you, they might know somebody that could use you a week from now. I'm like, oh, this guy approached me and was like, hey, really cool guy, and he runs a junk removal business. Here's his number, and
Yeah.
I've had that several times. So that's like one of the number one things that I do that I don't see a lot of other companies doing. Maybe maybe you're shy or whatever. It just takes 5 seconds, 5 seconds to approach a person and say something. And I live by that rule. I actually have this tattoo on my arm: asking it will be given, seeking you will find, knocking the door will be open. And like, people that ask in life are given a lot more than people that just sit back and wait for it to come.
That's
So
huge. That's awesome,
I hope
man.
that answers your question.
Yeah, that's really good, because I see, a lot of people want work, but they're not willing to put in the work, or ask, right, or offer value. I'm big on, the more value we can provide, the more, when people need us, they're gonna find us, right? And
Right,
that
right.
that's I mean, cookies is a great way to do it. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. People, who doesn't like cookies?
Exactly. You're a psychopath if you don't like cookies, so you
Yeah,
probably don't want to work with those people anyway.
so true.
Exactly. Awesome. So the I actually, this may lead into our next topic here, because I know you're working with a software company now, kind of as an ambassador. Was that an ask and you shall receive kind of moment? How did that come about?
Um, they actually came to me through YouTube. They
Awesome.
saw me on YouTube. The first thing was they asked me to try their software and make a video on it, and then if I liked the software, that they would continue to work with me, and they did, and I loved it. It was Workies, and they're a
Yeah.
great company. Like, I don't. Do you use Workies, Lewis?
We don't. We have one that we developed ourselves, a software
Oh,
that we
sweet.
use. But
Nice.
yeah, but I've seen really good things said about them, and I was excited to chat about that, because it applies really
Yeah.
well to the industry.
Right. It's really good. And it was a relationship that came through because I guess they started watching me on YouTube, and they just hit me up one day and like, hey, Austin, would you be interested in making a video, because they know I'm always wanting content. So I made a video one day about 4 other companies plus them, and they outperformed and outpriced every single one of those people.
That's
And
awesome.
so, that being said, we started working together. I use them on a regular basis, and it has brought my business so much value. Tracking customers, tracking my trucks, seeing where the guys are at, what job they're at, where they're at on the job. You add the pictures to the job, I can see everything, like I'm there. I can really help my guys out with just looking at the app. I don't even have to call them and say, "What's there? What are you doing? How much did you charge?" Everything is right there,
That's awesome.
and yeah, it just provided so much value. I live software that just kind of helps your business, uh, I guess, step up to that next level, and they help me do that along with like online bookings. Um, we get like 20% of our business through online bookings, which means we don't even have to pick up the phone. We don't talk to the customer. They set their own job up. It gets put in the system, and we do end up calling them and following up and just making sure all the information is correct. But the job's already sold. It's not anything we really have to do to sell the job,
Yeah,
and then we just go out to the customer and tell them the price, do the job, and it's just amazing that we to see those numbers, 20% from just people going on the website and booking, and that came from Workies, and I would have never been able to do that. I think my iPod just died. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Yeah, yeah, no worries.
Okay,
Um,
cool. Just died
yeah,
on me.
that's crazy, because you've I mean, at 20%, like you're talking about four to ten to $12,000 a month just off of online bookings.
Freaking
That's a
awesome.
pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah,
right? Like, and there's other softwares out there. Worky is we actually looked into it. Looks amazing. We never did it. We ended up just building something ourselves, like I said. But being able, I would recommend everybody check out what I think you've got an affiliate link and can kind of help people through that too, right?
Right. Yeah, I do have affiliate link. I'm not sure if it's on my YouTube channel because I've recently switched up my content. Um, I'm going to be an entertainer. I'm going to be one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform, guys. I won't stop
Nice.
till I get there. It's just another one of my goals. I've always wanted to do that. So, but I believe my affiliate link is on my Facebook. If it's not, anybody feel free to add me on Facebook. I'll send it to you. You could try Workies out for 14 days for free. They don't ask for any credit cards or anything like that.
Nice.
And if you end up going with them, they give me a small percentage of whatever package you end up going with. So,
yeah, no, because I mean, it comes down to anything that you use to track your clients, whether it be Workies or any of the number of the ones that are out there, or you connect with us. Like, there's the ability to track your clients, to send text to them, to have record of what's going on, to email them, to ask for reviews. It's going to astound you. Like, if you've never done it before, it's going to astound you the power. We were up till 1 or 2 last night getting some of that set up for another client, and it's like the workflows are going to eliminate like a whole person. The need to hire someone, right? And it's powerful what you can do. And if you're not using it, like, people are like, oh, it's so expensive monthly. It's like, well, imagine if you had to, if you could eliminate a person. Like, that's like, not just say that we want to get rid of people's jobs, but it's hard to find people, right? And in the spirit of growing businesses and all of that, we want to be optimizing and running as lean as possible, right? So,
right.
There's a ton of power that can be leveraged there. So that's cool. It was neat to see that come about. And I mean, you've been putting in the work on YouTube, right? Putting in the work. They saw you. They said, hey, he's gonna touch an audience. So that's really cool.
Right. And they with my link in the last however long I've been working with them, I think we've had like 25 people sign up and actually stick with them and love the program. And those people have messaged me and told me thanks. And it's it's a freaking pleasure to like spread that love, because I went on YouTube to help people, to spread that knowledge, because knowledge is lack. It helps with that fear that I was talking about earlier. Yeah. So helps people just get in there and become their own bosses. And I love to see that. Love to see it, man.
I love it. Yeah, no, and I definitely, I think we connected. I think, like you said, on YouTube, I was watching a few as we were kind of, getting into some of the stuff, junk removal from afar is one thing, but once you get into the nuts and bolts of pricing and whatnot, some of your videos were really helpful. So definitely go check out what Austin's doing there, and I guess subscribe, because you're going to bring some fun stuff too. So
yeah, we're going to be bringing a lot of fun stuff. And if you guys just like entertaining content, I mean, you can go back and see all my junk removal, all my rage room stuff, all my business stuff. But all the new content is going to be a lot of fun.
I love it. Let's talk about the rage room here before we sign off. So you talked a bit about how they interact with each other, and feed off each other. But how did that kind of come about? Was it just, another idea that you put in place?
So Rage Room came about. Everybody, you guys all know Will Smith, one of my favorite actors. I saw him on YouTube one day. Went to France. He was talking about how he was having so much stress from this gig he was doing, and he's like, I need to go relieve some stress. He made this video visiting a rage room out there, and when I saw him go there, I was like, wow, it's just a bunch of junk. He's going in there and smashing stuff with baseball bats and crowbars, and it sparked my memory, and was like, this is going to be huge. It's going to be one of the next big things, like what do you call it, the escape rooms or axe throwing. All that's was huge, and it popped off and started growing everywhere. And the same thing is happening with Rage Room right now. So I got into it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna start looking for a place. I'm going to make this happen. And like I said earlier, when I put my mind to something, I make it happen. And here we are. We're 6, maybe 7 months in.
We were profitable after month 3, which says a lot because my junk removal business took like 2 years to actually get profitable. So the rage room is amazing. The junk removal provides the stuff to break. It even provides all the bats, all the crowbars, all the sledgehammers, everything we use to break. It provided the fans that we have in there. It has provided a lot. We even turned the front section into like a game room, like an arcade game room. So we have old school arcade games in there.
Cool.
And a couple of those came from junk removals as well. And it's just amazing, man. It's amazing the things that you find in junk removal that help you with everything, not just my rage room, but like everything. The rage room is super fun. It's like I have like the dream job, you know, like who gets to watch people smash stuff all day?
How
And
often do you go in and shoot up and smash and stuff?
oh, once a month, man. Got to go in there and
I
relieve that
love it.
stress once a month, easy. And I get in there with my guys.
I love it.
It's my son Osiris,
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
and he likes to rage out too. He chose to go and have a rage session on his birthday instead of like going to the bowling alley or the park or anywhere else. It's like I want to.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a good time. We have a really good return customer base there as well. So yeah, if anybody wants to start a rage room, you guys can hit me up on the DM as well. Check out my YouTube videos. So really, especially if you're doing junk removal, it works perfectly. Like I don't know how anybody starts a rage room without owning a junk removal business. They got to buy the stuff. They got to find the stuff first of all, and then buy the stuff. And I'm sure you can make it happen by working with your local junk removal companies, but it's just so much easier owning it yourself.
Yeah, that's cool. I think my business partner and I have, even before we were looking at junk removal, we were like, that's really cool. So it's going to happen here in the next year or two for sure.
Dude, I'll come visit you. You come visit me. Let's do it.
I love it. I love it. I had a question. Someone messaged me here. So they were asking about pricing.
Okay.
So do you give the price up front before booking, or how do you disclose the pricing, especially with the online booking stuff?
So yeah, we the online booking is set up to where it's like free estimate. Everything we do, unless it's outside of our like free estimate mileage, so we go up to 40 miles and give a free estimate.
Yeah.
And so if it's outside that, we'll ask them for pictures and give an estimate that way. But we always just set the job up as a free estimate. We show up, and that's where we sell the job face to face, because it's so much easier to give someone a price in person and sell the job that way than to give them a price over the phone and sell the job that way. You give them a price over the phone. I've learned this has been different for other people I've talked to, but I've learned that you lose more jobs giving the price over the phone. And sometimes we'll give them like, hey, this is about how much a full load costs, and our minimum is here. And that's about what our prices look like. But I never tell somebody, hey, your house is going to cost this much to clean out and we'll come get it done. A lot of times you'll hurt yourself doing that. And sometimes you might even overprice it, and it could have been a lot cheaper for them, and then it turned them away. They never even hired you. Right. So that's how I do it. I set up free estimates, and we go out there, give them an estimate, sell the job on site, because to me, it's so much easier to sell it face to face.
Gotcha. Do you do when you said estimates of the job, like you give them a ballpark maybe just to see if it's in their range based on kind of what they're telling you?
Yeah. So when we give an estimate, we don't give them a ballpark. I've basically got it down to, the way we do our estimates is we'll look at everything. We'll take lots of pictures of everything, put everything in the system, and then we tell the customer, give us 5 minutes. We're gonna get the pictures submitted in, and we're gonna get an estimate worked up with you. And really, all we do is we get in the truck, we discuss the job, to like, how many loads is this going to take? How much labor is it going to take? How long is it going to take us to do? And then we separate it from, this is how much it's going to cost to remove all of the junk, the disposal fees, fuel, and everything, all included in that price. And then we give them a labor price right underneath that. So it's basically the job price and a labor price, and the total of that is how much it's going to cost. And at this point, it's it's still we still tell them, hey, it can vary, but this is going to be right around where you're sitting at. And if say we explain to them as we're removing stuff, we won't just remove it and go over this budget. We're going to let you know if it goes up. Now, if it goes down, we're just going to keep removing. We're going to get it done, and we're going to let you know, hey, this is the end pricing. But we let them know if it does end up looking like more, which I haven't gone up on a price with anybody in probably 2 years, because we price high. That's our trick. We price high, because if they're willing to pay that high estimate, then we know we're good, and then we can go down from there if it ends up being less work than we thought.
And then it makes them excited when that happens. Right?
Exactly. It's like it's a surprise for them. So I go down on my price more than anything. I haven't gone up in a really long time, because I've learned that if they're willing to pay that high price, then they're the customers. Those are the customers you want. Yeah. You don't want the customers that are going to be like, oh, can we get it down right away? Like, I'm sorry, I'm getting paid what I'm worth. And that's what we go out there and do. And anybody that's pricing, don't price according to what your competitors are pricing. You price what you're worth, what you need to cover yourself, your company. Don't price compared to other companies. I don't know how that sounds or how you guys feel about that, but I want to get paid what I'm worth, and that's what I run my company in.
I think every business that you're in, you've got to figure out what your costs are, what profit you want to be making, and then what you need to charge to do that. Like if you're okay with making $5 on every job, you have to decide that and be okay with that, but at least know your numbers.
Right, exactly. Know your numbers and charge what you're worth is exactly my advice I would give there on pricing. Don't just do a low ball because you're trying to beat the other guy, trying to beat his price, because in the end you're just going to hurt yourself.
And track your numbers, guys. I've talked to a lot of people in the last couple of weeks that I'm like, well, what are you running monthly? It's like, I don't know, maybe like 6 to 8. It's like, well, what are you running? Like, how can we help you if you don't even know? And then on top of that, they don't know their cost, or they just look at their cost for that month. They don't factor in the insurance, truck payments, trailer payments, all of that. You got to run all those numbers, right? And you've got to know where they are and what's going on there. So.
Do your research, like I was talking about earlier. I didn't do my research on those other companies I was starting. And the big thing, run your numbers, figure out what you need to charge to make some profit, because you're in business to make profit, not to beat the other company out.
Exactly, because you want to be around for 5 years or more, 10 years or whatever, right? So.
Yeah. I want my company to be a legacy for my kids. I want my kids to be able to run my company when they get older. So that's what we're doing. We're set up systems for your businesses, so that way everything has a step. Everything has a step. This has a step. That has a step. And no matter what problem or issue you run into, it has a solution already put in place.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Well, Austin, this has been incredible. I don't want to take too much more of your vacation time. I guess any final thoughts you have for people, especially in junk removal, but just in business, a final parting thought, and then we'll wrap up with where everybody can find you.
Let's see. The only thing I'm thinking about right now is relaxing. That could be my tip, guys. Don't kill yourselves. Obviously you want to work your hardest for your own business, but look where I'm at right now. This is something that I was just like, okay, let's go. Let's relax. Let's calm down a little bit. Let's not think about business for a couple of days and refresh yourself, because you end up like burning out. You'll burn out if you don't do that. So that's my tip. That's all I can give right now, because that's all I'm thinking about. These are some of the only sand dune lakes in Florida, or even I think all of the United States. Wow. Literally, this is a freshwater lake right here, and then over across that way, those dunes over there, that's the ocean, and it's
amazing. That's
right.
Amazing.
Really cool. So thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So how can people find you? Because obviously you've built your business to a point where you can relax. So you've got a lot of educational material on YouTube and Facebook. But what's the best way for people to connect with you?
The best way would be either follow me on Instagram or on Facebook. Those are the two I check the most, and you'll probably get a faster reply if you do Facebook or Instagram.
Amazing, my friend. Well, this has been incredible. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Reach out to Austin. He's a wealth of knowledge and willing to share. We're going to end the broadcast here and then just stick around for 2 seconds and we'll wrap up here, Austin.
All right, cool, man. Cool, man.
All right, see you guys.
Peace out, guys.